Hey, they got a light here. That's awesome.
Yeah, about time. Only took them forever.
Yeah, they wait till people have a bunch of accidents and they put it there.
So they changed like a little bit of the compression ratios and stuff like that for the workings of the Arteon from the ones that I've been in before to the actual production ones. So the ones that came out a year ago that were unavailable to be sold felt a lot slower.
This one's quick.
Yeah. So when you accelerated before in the other Arteons, the ones that are no longer able to be sold, they used to feel like the non-turbocharged 2.5 liter Jetta engines. And it was like a very lack of power is the best way to put it, which Volkswagen typically over the past couple of years or so have been totally on the turbo game, you know, as far as 1400 being the peak of their torque and everything like that, but it just felt...
What's the, do you remember what the horsepower and all that is on this vehicle?
I believe it's 264.
264.
Yeah, they were talking about putting the 268. Sorry, 268. They were talking about originally putting the Gulf R motor in it, so having a 292.
268 horsepower.
Yep.
This vehicle in a 4-cylinder.
Correct.
Direct injection turbocharged.
Correct.
Wow, that's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
That's real good.
Yeah, you get the fuel economy. I mean, it still gets above 30, well beyond 30 on the highway, which is nice. And you cruise around the city around 25 or so. So,
can we reset that? Or is it?
You can do it while you're driving. Yeah. You
okay. Can. It's probably already reset when we started, right? No, it's not.
No, because we were sitting in the parking spot since start.
Yeah. Well, that's fine.
You can see your active miles per gallon in your MFI if you wanted to configure that. You go over to driving data. Here we go. And then if you press up and down, you can see your economy. There you go.
Cool. So that gives us a real time.
Exactly what you're actually getting while you're driving down the road.
It's like 300 when I let off the gas.
Yeah. It works its way all the way up to, you know, obviously the flat bars because you're not on the gas. Infinite fuel economy. But I like what they did, putting the dyno audio system in the car versus the Beats or the Fender. Has been looks like a nice upgrade. And then integrating the blind spot monitor into the mirror itself, not just on the mirror. It's a part of the whole unit.
Yeah, I like that on the inside because sometimes the blind spot detection system on the mirror, like on the actual mirror itself, you get mixed up with the lights and everything, other things that are in the mirror, so you might not notice it.
Yeah, because most of our vehicles have the integrated turn signal, which just so happens to be the exact same color as your blind spot monitor.
Yeah.
So people will look over and have their turn signal on and think someone's in their blind spot when there really wasn't. So, and it's a more premium feature. You'll see like the Audis and things like that have that kind of blind spot monitor on the base of it.
So I couldn't get over the acceleration back there when I pulled out in traffic. It was giving me, it kind of felt like, doesn't feel like a 4-cylinder. I just say that.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's pretty ambitious for us to put that much horsepower, you know, in a...
And what does the Passat have? Does the Passat have anything like that?
Horsepower-wise?
Yeah.
So they had a V6 Passat that had comparable horsepower, but, you know, you're talking about probably 44, 45 more than the Passat has in the same 2.0 engine.
And this is a bigger vehicle.
Yes. And then the redesign of the Passat will be coming out at the end of the year, which will be close in size to the Arteon, a couple inches shorter.
And tell me about this thing about if I were to just like pass out right now and it just stops the vehicle. Is that really a thing? Is that included?
Technically, but the way that we're supposed to describe it to people is kind of up in the air as far as legality. So I'm not exactly sure I'm supposed to describe it, to be honest, in all fairness.
Okay.
People for a long time were saying driver's assistance features, and that the what is it called, adaptive cruise control would stop the car for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put it on autopilot and stuff like that, and people got sued and dealerships lost a bunch of money. So I'm not exactly
okay,
sure
because people are trying to rely on those, instead of having that as a last ditch safety feature, they're trying to rely on the
drive the car for
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it does feature the active hood technology, which is
Pops up.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Did you see the recent, this is kind of a little bit off subject but related, the that Joe Rogan podcast recently with the guy that does autonomous vehicles?
Oh yeah, you know what?
Did you watch that?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it on YouTube the other day.
Did you notice he said the very first thing he said is like, keep your eyes on the damn road,
Yeah.
because you don't trust you can't trust them 100%.
No.
And I'm glad he said that, because people right now, I mean, you know, they just rely on technology so much in other areas.
Right.
So when they get behind the wheel, they're like, oh well, it's supposed to drive itself, so it's going to drive itself. And
Exactly.
it's like no, you don't want to do that.
No.
The consequences are too great to rely
Most
on a
definitely.
machine like that.
The Tesla with the autopilot feature and stuff like that. You know, they've had plenty of accidents.
Yeah. Now we're testing the soundproofing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too bad.
Yeah,
Not
it's
too
It's a
bad.
Volkswagen.
That's
Yeah,
not bad
they
at
did a really
all.
Good job of keeping cabin noise to a minimum.
This guy's got his radio blasting, and he's got the loud exhausts,
Oh yeah.
and we're still able to talk. That's pretty cool. I'm probably going way further than I'm supposed to go.
You can go wherever you want. I don't have restriction for you, as long as we don't hit anybody and we get back safe. I'm good.
We're
I'm
good.
good. But one of the cool things that they did with the Arteon is they made active blind spot monitoring. So it integrates not just your blind spot monitor, but your lane assist,
Mm-hmm.
or people like to call it active blind spot, active lane, whatever you want to call it. But it, even though, let's say you're trying to switch lanes and your lane assist is still on, if you have, in a previous Volkswagen, you would just turn your turn signal on and you're still able to leave the lane. But if your blind spot monitor is on and your lane assist is on, even if you have your turn signal on, it will try to prevent you from going into that lane.
By turning the steering wheel slightly?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Because it doesn't want you to merge into someone.
Right, and it can detect that there's something there. So,
Right.
okay, I got you.
And they brought back the analog clock on the Passat, which a lot of people missed.
Huh.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, it's funny how they do away with something and then they bring it back, because it reminds me of like CD players. They'll do away with it
Right.
in some of the vehicles, and then they'll bring it back because there's so much backlash. And knobs, like if there's no volume knob on
Yep.
some manufacturers, then they have to bring that back.
Honda,
Yep,
specifically.
specifically.
But it does have the CD player hidden away in here.
Yeah, it's kind of out of the way. Where would be a good place to turn around that you would suggest? You know, I don't know this area very well.
Oh, okay.
Should I turn right and go around that way?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. This looks like a major road here that we can take.
Yeah, this is 707. You should be able to feel a little bit more of the acceleration, get out of the traffic.
Wow.
Yeah. I like the way that's.
That's a little bit more than I thought it was going to be, so I had to let off on it. So the 8-speed transmission, that's an Ison, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's got a good, what do you call it? Name behind the transmission.
Right. Yeah, Volkswagen's trying to step up their game everywhere they can, especially branding wise.
Yeah.
Recovering from, Dieselgate.
Yeah. Yeah, seems like that didn't cause a huge problem, because During the Dieselgate, there was a lot of customers in the door, I remember.
Well, it's a consequence of all the money that they were putting out. You know, that with all the cars being bought back and fixed and all the money that was given out to the customers and stuff like that, it's kind of
brought people
busy.
in. Okay.
Because if you get handed a check for $60,000 at a dealership and you need a car now, it makes sense that
you had to
start
go ahead and
shopping
buy
at that place that gave you the money. So
right, I got you. Now, can we loop somewhere that way, or do we have to turn around and go back?
No, we can go all the way around in the full loop.
Okay.
When you go to the next turning light, you can take a right, and we can go up and we go back to 17.
Okay. Wow.
That was an aggressive bump.
That's a very aggressive bump. Yeah, that's I need to do something about that.
Yeah, most definitely. Feel bad for all those cars that have
Yeah, those loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, those drop to the ground. Or even a motorcycle, man. You know, if you're not prepared for that.
Yeah, the crotch region.
Yeah.
You can take it right here.
Okay. Yeah, it does feel really strong. Do you know what the weight is? Approximately?
Approximately? You know, that's a good question. Let's see.
Because it feels pretty dang strong for that horsepower. It feels, and it just kind of feels zippy, you know?
Well,
it doesn't take much
honest,
RPMs.
Between the new Jetta, the new GLI, and obviously the Arteon, that's what they're trying to go for, is the more zippy feel. Makes it feel different than most of the other, competition that's naturally aspirated.
Yeah, because normally the turbos typically would take a little bit more RPMs to kind of get that that little bit of a punch when you're going, but kind of feels like a V6.
Yeah, well, our peak as far as torque is so low. I mean, it's like 1400 RPM versus I do a lot of the competition comparisons for Honda that it's like 4500 RPM.
Yeah, you got to really rev it.
Yeah.
To get it to go.
It should weigh about 3,655 pounds.
Okay. 3,000 what?
655.
Okay, so that's not super light.
Yeah.
That's pretty heavy.
It is pretty heavy.
But it doesn't feel heavy. I got it in sport mode now. Now, I'm always disappointed in sport mode when I drive a vehicle, even including my car. It's like it feels better in normal mode, so we'll try sport mode and just see what happens.
Like steering and handling wise, or performance wise?
Acceleration wise and performance wise.
Did you put it in that sport mode?
No, I just did the drive mode here.
Oh, okay. So if you put it in the drive mode, it changes your handling a little bit.
This is for the acceleration and all that.
Right.
Okay, so there's two different sport modes I see.
Yeah, you'll notice. You can just take a left.
Take a left. Okay.
Yep, this is 17. But you'll notice your acceleration's a lot more when you're in sport mode.
Okay.
It's like almost night and day difference.
Wow.
Even though they do drive pretty good, and they do have really good acceleration in regular drive mode. And then obviously it has...
So you can just swap it. Yeah.
Yep. Have you seen the display with the nav flipped?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty neat.
It is pretty neat. And then depending on what view you have, you can have practically the whole entire screen as your navigation screen.
You can, it shrinks down.
Yeah, it'll shrink your gauges down.
Yeah, I noticed that in, I think it was the Atlas first, where they had the navigation and what you can...
Yep.
Yeah, it feels like a V6. It does. I'm really surprised it's not a... It is a 4-cylinder, actually.
Yeah, everyone wants the fuel efficiency of the 4-cylinder and the power of the V6, so why not make it a 4-cylinder feel like a V6?
Now, is it gonna get the gas mileage? Because I got a V6 and it's like 305 horsepower, and I get average 27, average.
Okay.
So I don't know if...
Well, it really just depends on where you're driving. Volkswagen says that the Arteon will get about 31, 32 on the highway, I believe, and about 23, I think, in the city. From my experience with Volkswagen and the EPA ratings that they put on their cars for fuel efficiency, that they're oftentimes 2 or 3 less than what you actually
get. Okay.
For example, the Jetta says it gets 40 miles to the gallon on the highway, but I've been back and forth to Atlanta and Charlotte multiple times, and I haven't got less than 47 miles on the highway.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
yeah.
Is this 55 or 45 right here?
55.
Okay. I'm gonna change lanes because the dealership's coming up soon, right?
Yeah, about another couple
miles. Surprised how quiet it is.
Yeah, most definitely.
And this doesn't have the laminated glass either.
No, and it's frameless.
Yeah. So that's surprising.
Throw back to the CC. They also had frameless windows.
Also, the spare tire is like a full-size spare tire, like it matches the car.
Right.
Is that the way? Is that just this trim, or is that the way all of them are?
I believe it's the SEL and the SEL Premium come like that. The other trim, the SE, comes with a donut.
Okay.
But it still comes with a spare tire.
Yeah.
Nice.
That is cool, and it has a subwoofer back there too.
Yeah, with the Dyna audio, comes with the subwoofer.
Yeah, this is nice and quiet. Some vehicles, new vehicles, have been just loud as can be. I was really surprised.
Yeah, loud.
Loud, a lot of road noise, engine whining and stuff. And
well, it sounds like you drive a lot of Toyotas.
Well, I'm not saying anything. I mean, I'm not going to.
I'm just messing.
You must have saw my video.
No, I did
not.
Oh,
okay, never mind then.
Not that one specific, I don't think. I've seen quite a few of them, but
yeah, it was a Toyota. That's
yep. Well, I mean, from driving them myself, we get them traded in all the time. 2018, 2019 Corollas, or the worst vehicle ever built. I think it's a piece of crap.
Really, the new one. The new Corolla wasn't that bad. I mean, I thought it was okay. I mean, it looked cool. I mean, I don't have any long-term experience.
Oh, but yeah, it looks cool. It looks really cool. But half the part of buying the car is driving the car, and that part is not cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure like the '60s Batmobile looked really cool, but I'm sure it wasn't that much fun to drive.
It's kind of like the Dodge Viper. It looks all awesome, and then you try to get in it, and you got to like dislocate your shoulders and everything trying to get in.
Yeah, exactly. Or you know, the Fiat that's right here, and like the Fiat Spider. It looks really cool.
I didn't even try to get in that car.
Your butt's on the ground, and you'll need someone to help you get out of it.
And the bumpers of other trucks is like face level.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Kind of makes you feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a very quiet and fast car. I mean, it's like it's not like sports car fast. It's just kind of like it has plenty of power.
Right. Yeah, they're not trying to make it a sports car, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But when you have this, the STL Premium being right around 48, and then you have the, you know, Audi equivalent around 70, being the S7, or A7, kind of makes sense. You get a little bit less power, a lot less money.
Just in time.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm impressed with it.
Good. And the appearance. When we get one in gold.
It looks like an Audi though. The front end to me looks like an Audi.
Right.
So I guess they're
the VW badge, and it's an Audi for sure. Well, another thing with that is the design language is all going to be transferred from the Arteon to everything else. So the front end of this car, the flagship car, is going to be a very similar front end, everything else. So when the new Jetta gets redesigned in 3 years from now, when the new Arteon comes out in a year or two from now, because it's been out in Europe for a couple years, and every 3 languages they're going to be doing updates, the visual updates to the front end, back end, stuff like that. So the Arteon, a year and a half, Jetta in about 2 or 3 years, the Atlas in about a year and a half, and then Tiguan will have the same front end styling of the Arteon.
Okay, so this is the plowing. This is like the tip of the spear for all the design.
Flagship of everything else.
Okay.
And you'll see that like all our air vents and stuff like that will be configured how the Arteon looks. Just like when the new Passat comes out at the end of the year, all this will look extremely familiar.
Okay. Okay. Cool. It looks good.
Yeah.
So how can people buy a car from you? How would they contact you if they're?
Well, they can reach me
They can
on
go
website.
on vacation. If they don't live here, they can go on vacation in Myrtle Beach and buy a car and drive it back.
Yeah, I've done that many times before.
So how can they contact you?
They can contact me at eastcoastvolkswagen.com. My email and cell phone number is on the website.
And what's your name?
Jordan Fine.
Jordan Fine. Awesome. Yeah. So I'll put a link in the description so they can go to the website, find your contact information.
Perfect.
And hopefully come here and buy a car from you.
Yeah, hopefully
yeah, yeah, this is nice. Alrighty.